Some of the benefits of this television is that it's a little bit less priced than the U8K, and it does have 1000 nits, but the main key factor is that this is a 120 hertz panel. So here's the interesting thing. This is a 65 inch, but they do make it in a 55 and a 75. And at CES, Hisense said they was gonna make an 85 inch in every model, but I haven't seen them yet. All right, so now we got the box open. Let's see what's inside. Well, first of all, you have these feet, and they're made out of metal. Now, these feet has this cross on it, and this cross allows you to make sure that you put it in correctly. And it has this little groove right here for wire maintenance. It also comes with a quick setup guide, and this is going to show you how to do some basic things like set up the remote control, put it all together. You also get a power cord and some screws for the feet. Of course, you get the remote control, and I really like this remote because it uses this little white navigation key. It makes it very easy to get to all your settings, and plus it comes with the batteries as well. And since this is a 65 inch, once you get all the straps and everything that originally comes on the TV off, you just lift it up off of the TV. And here's the remote control, and I just want to show you guys some of the highlights of it. Up here you have your power button as well as the input. With this button, you can actually choose different profiles in the Google operating system. Over here you have your microphone, so you can do the voice commands, and then you have a settings button. This is the navigation to get through all your different features. And over here you have your home button, volume, channels, menu, as well as your hotkeys down here, including Netflix, YouTube, just to name a few. And this remote control has a light in it as well. So this is what it looks like when you pull it off the box. So we're just going to go ahead and pull this styrofoam off. And one thing I like about Hisense is that they always put this cardboard protection on front of the TV. So whenever it gets shipped, the chances of getting a cracked glass is very, very minimized. Just going to pull this off. And then you just need to pull the foam off at each side. So we'll go over here and pull this other piece off. Because this TV is so heavy, you definitely don't want to lift it on your own. So I have my assistant Justin that's going to help me out so we can get this thing out of the box. So you ready, Justin?
Yep.
All right, let's go. And the thing is, you want to put your hand all the way to the very bottom of the television, and then you're going to lift it up and go ahead and lay it on the flat surface so you can screw on the feet. Now you can mount this TV two different ways, as you can see right here, and I'll measure and show you guys how far a distance they are apart. And the cool thing is that that little square is centered with this piece right here, so we'll know that the measurements are pretty accurate. So when it comes to the inside, you're looking at about 27¼ inches apart, and the ones that are farther apart looks like around 45¾ inches apart. Over here you have a oval shaped speaker, and as we go over here, there's a press button to do some of the basic functionality on the menu, like power it off and on, as well as change the channels. So now we have the TV turned around. Let's take a look at the back design. Over here you have these ridges, and this basically helps keep the cabinet very stiff and very stable. And I think Hisense used this design before because it looks pretty familiar. Now when we go over here, we have the power cord input, and it uses a standard power cord. And it has this subwoofer over here, and altogether this TV has a total of 40 watts of power, including those bottom speakers that I showed you earlier. It also has a thread pattern, so you can add a VESA mount to it, and we'll put all those dimensions on the screen, as you can see right here. This is for the 55, 65, and the 75. Now when it comes to connections, we have a USB 3.0 over here and a second USB over here, 2.0. And then it has 4 HDMIs. 2 of these are 60 Hertz, and 2 of them will support up to 4K at 144 Hertz. You also have the new next-gen ATSC 3.0 TV tuner, an AV input, but it needs an adapter, and then over here you have a headphone jack output. And you can connect it directly to a router with an Ethernet connection, and there's a fiber optic output. However, I will tell you that eARC is going to be the best connection, and that's what you can use with this HDMI over here. So here's an idea of what the cable management looks like. I just plugged in some random HDMI cables and antenna, and you can see this little clip right here holds everything pretty well. And you can put fairly enough cables in there, so it'll be pretty good for most people's setups. The last part you need to do is just remove these little pieces off the screen, and this protects it again whenever you're moving the television. Now let's take a look at this Hisense U7K with the mini LED technology and up to 1000 nits of peak brightness. The bezels on this TV are black in color, and there's a tiny trim that goes inside of the glass to make sure that the TV is centered. You can separate the feet on this television, but you cannot raise it up and down if you want to look more flusher to your table. On the bottom of it, you're going to find a hands-free Google microphone. There's a press button, and you get this side menu where you can select through all your inputs. And one thing that you might not know about this TV is that it does have a remote control finder. And once you select it, you can press and hold the power button on the bottom of it and listen to what happens to the remote control. This is an 8-bit panel with frame rate control, but what makes it look so good is that this Hisense has quantum dots that supports up to 1 billion shades of vivid colors, so it really looks more saturated and brighter than most traditional QLED televisions. And if you're a movie fan, this TV supports all your major formats. It supports HDR10+, and that's a format that Samsung uses, plus it does have Dolby Vision IQ, Dolby Vision, HDR10, HLG, and it does have a filmmaker's mode, so you can watch content just like the filmmaker intended to be by eliminating all the different colors and artifacts that most TVs simulate. And if you've ever been to an IMAX theater, this TV has the IMAX enhanced profile as well as DTS sound, and that's going to immerse you into any type of movie or content that you watch. Now by now you probably know I reviewed a lot of televisions on this channel, but I haven't been into the calibration side of it, and I'm learning as we go. But I will tell you that it's very complicated, and I'll give you some of the settings that I found on this TV in SDR mode. But I will tell you HDR mode was a bit of a headache because it's a lot more steps to it. But here's an example of the graphs that I was able to get just by going in and tweaking some different settings. And since this TV doesn't have a custom picture profile setting, I just took theater day mode and I used that one, but I want to toggle through the different picture profiles so you can see them. And when it comes to calibration and showing all that on the video, I'll do it later as I get more comfortable with it. Next, I want to pull up Disney Plus to show you guys an example of what this TV looks like on a movie. And I can tell you that overall it's very bright, has really great colors. However, I will tell you the contrast is not as dark as it would be on the U8K because this particular TV has roughly 384 local dimming zones. To show you SDR content, I pulled up YouTube TV and then I put the U7K into sporting mode. One thing that I noticed about this mode is that it makes the TV a lot brighter. However, in my opinion, it oversaturates the red, so that's something that you might want to tone back or just put the TV in standard mode. It's not the best upscaling that I've seen, but it does a good enough job for the average consumer. Now this won't happen often, but I want to show you guys some 480p content playing through this television, and it blocks everything off, but it depends on your source. This is streaming from my Plex server, but the interesting thing, if you end up with a signal like this, I tried to expand it out and it just wouldn't cut off the bars on the side because these TVs are really built for higher resolution. But here's a demo where I'm playing 720p so you can see the differences between the 480p, so it gets a little bit more clearer. And then I switched over to 1080p, and I would tell you if you have a clean 1080p signal, because the upscaling will do a good job with this type of signal. Now switching over to 4K, it brings in all the resolution that this demo was meant for, and you can see every detail that's possible. So in my opinion, if you use a 1080p signal or a 4K signal, the TV is going to do a really good job on that type of content as long as it's recorded clearly. And here's a screenshot from my editing software so you can see all the screens side by side. But I will tell you on a video, it's very hard to see the differences unless you're watching it on a big screen. The last couple of things I want to show you guys about this TV is the operating system. What I did is I added this 4K camera onto the TV and you get this pop-up. And the thing that you can do with this is you can have the camera to adjust the lighting automatically, or you can do these gestures. So what you would have to do is just allow the camera to have access, but again, this is an option. And then this is what it looks like in front of the camera. So if you want to do the automatic brightness, you hit enabled, and the camera is basically adjusting it itself to the light in the room. Now, if you plan on using the gesture, you can basically set it up by putting one finger up like this until you get a circle. And then you can put two fingers up to do this gesture. and then you do like this to get the third gesture. And once you get all your gestures in there, then you can actually command it any way you want. So once you select on it, you can go through here and you can select anything you want. So let's say, for example, I want to pull up the Play Store, just putting up one finger. And once you get everything configured out the way you want it, just hit done. And once you get everything done, you can see there's a little circle in the corner. So if I put up one finger, it's going to open up the Play Store just like I programmed, which is pretty cool because you can customize that, again, any way that you want. Now this TV is powered by Google, and I will tell you that overall it's pretty snappy. I don't see a lot of lag at all. Now if you press live at the top, there's two different options here. You do have Google TV, and it's just a series of streaming channels. You can't record them, but you can watch some free content. Or the TV tuner, which I actually hooked the antenna up to the television. Now next we have applications, and if you have different Google TVs like I use all the time, it will preload some of the different applications that you had on the other TVs. But this is the App Store, and people want to sideload applications. I'm not really into that. I'm sure there's a way to do it on this TV, but it's not something I recommend because TV apps are built for the TV. Now if we go to the side and go to the settings, of course you have your channels and inputs, and there's a few things I just want to show you guys in here. First of all, these are all the different controls, and if you want to hook it up to a home theater system, you can go in here and turn on these little switches here, and that's where you can use that serial port in the back. Now as far as the HDMIs, this one does start off in standard. You can set it automatic, so it'll automatically switch over to enhanced, which supports 4K. And input 3 and 4, like I showed you guys earlier, will support up to 144 Hertz at 4K or 1080p at 240 Hertz. And keep in mind, those usually take a powerful PC and a graphics card using VRR, but your PlayStation, Xbox will not be able to take advantage of those connections. Now under picture modes, I just want to show you guys a couple of basic things here. First of all, you have all these different settings that I showed you on the video, but if you use HDR or Dolby Vision, these will change to a different format based off that content. Intelligent Sense, basically it will automatically optimize every scene. Now of course under clarity, this is where you control all your motions and you can customize it. So if you get in that soap opera effect, you can customize the judder and the blur reduction. And the last thing I'll show you guys here is the calibration settings. And this is what I was using earlier to adjust everything. So you can adjust the red, you can go down here and white balance, and this is a 2-point. And this is where you can offset everything right there and change the gains. Now CalBin service, this is available on the U7K, and this allows the TV to be controlled with a computer to do an automatic calibration, which I wish this TV had. Now again, we'll get into some of this stuff in the next video, but for gaming modes, you have your auto low latency, FreeSync, high refresh rate, plus this TV does have variable refresh rate. The last few things I want to show you is that this TV is running off Android version 12. You're looking at 19 gigabytes built in, plus you can lock down the storage. You have ambient mode, and this allows you to have a screensaver kind of like this when you're not using the TV, which is great. That way you always have some kind of content plan instead of just a bouncing logo or something like that. You can cast from your smart device over to this television, and under advanced settings, you can actually connect it with Alexa as well, just by going into your Amazon account and setting it up. So that's pretty much the basics that you have right here in the television. So I know in this video we covered a lot of different information. We covered some of the basic picture modes, calibration, as well as doing a full unboxing. On the second video, we're going to get into some picture tests, the gaming, because I know some of you guys want to see it on this video, and I'm going to let you guys hear the audio system. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys on part 2. Peace.